Shalom Aleichem Internet. My name is Rabbi Sandor Gazinski. I hope you are all safe and healthy. This is the weekly Torah Bite. This week's Torah portion is a double Torah portion. It is Matos and Maasei, the final two Torah portions in the book of Numbers. And with it, to a certain degree, we close out an era, because with it we close out the first four books of the Torah, and the fifth book, the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, really is its own standalone book. It is written from the narrative perspective of Moshe, while the first four are written from the narrative perspective of God, and to a certain degree is Moshe's final words to the people as he is in his final days. And so the book of the final parsha of the book of Numbers, which is the second half of this Shabbos' reading, really serves as a recap for all the journeys of the Jewish people as they have left Egypt and are on the way to the land of Canaan. And that's why how it begins, Eila Maasei b'nei Israel, these are the journeys of the Jewish people as they have left Egypt. Now, if we're being literal, the truth is that the language appears to not be correct. These are the journeys in leaving Egypt. There was only really one journey in which they left Egypt. Of these 42 stops along the way, the very first one of them took them out of Egypt, from Ramses to the city of Sukkot, which was outside of Egypt already, and that was the journey out of Egypt. Now, the rest of them took them further and further from Egypt and towards Canaan, but wasn't leaving Egypt. So the language is not exact, unless we understand that the word Mitzrayim does not just mean Egypt, but it is also from the word Meitzarim, which means limitations and boundaries. And this is the lesson to each and every one of us. We are always on journeys, and every journey we're on in growth is always us leaving the boundaries of our last state. We have to constantly be growing. We have to constantly understand that however great of a leap forward I take and a step in the right direction, that's never good enough. That do not plateau, do not stop there. Because today's great leap forward is tomorrow's boundaries. Because just as I took a step forward today, I can take a step forward tomorrow. And if I don't, then I have confined myself to a limitation beyond, because there's more to do, there's greater I can go. And so we each need to constantly be in this perpetual forward momentum, as the slogan for Johnny Walker, the Scotch, is keep walking, keep on going, keep on journeying, keep on progressing. We find ourselves in a very interesting period right now, where to a certain degree it seems to be that world events are conspiring to keep us limited, to keep us bound, to keep us in our homes, or limiting what it is that we can do, etc., etc. And the answer is that the Torah's message is still relevant. How can you keep on walking? How can you keep on progressing? How can you take the next step in freedom? And so it is a challenge to each one of us, and perhaps we can call this one of the many coronavirus challenges. How do you transcend corona? How do you take a step forward today in your freedom? And I promise you, you will feel so much more uplifted and so much more free if you accept upon yourself this paradigm, this idea that I am only as limited as I allow myself to be. If I take a step, if I find some way to progress, it might not be in a physical sense. It might not be leaving the house. But while I'm in my house, who can I reach out to? What medium can I use that I have not yet used to reach somebody, to touch somebody? If I'm thinking about things that I otherwise do not do or never found time to do, and now I'm going to take, because I can't do other things, I'm going to progress and take myself a leap forward in this aspect. And as a rabbi, my greatest suggestion to you is to leap forward in your spirituality. Think of all the things that you said, I would love to do, except that I don't have time. I'm too busy working, or I'm too busy doing whatever it is. And now all of a sudden you find yourself limited in that aspect. So maybe the limiting in the material aspect is freeing you up to take a great leap forward in the spiritual and become a better individual in regards to your soul, or regards to your family, or regards to whatever else that otherwise has been put on to the side burner. So leaps forward, leaving of boundaries, can be in many different ways. and should not be limited because outside forces seem to be making your typical or general path forward a difficult one. Think creatively. Think outside the box. Think freedom and progress. Take the next step forward. Take the great leap forward. This is the ideal of Judaism. The world was created on a forward trajectory and ends with Mashiach. And so each and every one of us has our role to play in progressing ourselves, those around us, and the world towards this great destination. And I promise you, it primarily is not about that flight you were going to take to Mozambique. It's more about what are you doing to take the world and make it a better place. And that definitely can still be done and progressed upon while we find ourselves in the middle of this coronavirus crisis. So go out, be free, and bring freedom to others, and constantly take a step forward. Leave your boundaries until Mashiach comes.